So how to create an account you might have got in your welcome mail. If not, please go ahead into qualitythought.in/blog and there is a link in how to create a AWS free tier account. Follow that, right? So I'm logging in with my mail ID. Okay, good. So this is my AWS screen and I have to create a Linux machine over here. And the virtual machine service in Amazon is basically called as EC2. It's called as EC2. Are you seeing anything called as EC2 on the page? You can go from here or you can go to the services and that would be your first service. Go over here. And for now, we don't require very huge servers. So let us go with the free plan. Okay. So I'll be saying launch instance and select this option so that you will be basically choosing only machines which are applicable for free. Scroll down, Ubuntu 16. Okay. So this is the only machine which is free. If you select any other machine, it would be a chargeable service for you. So let me go with free plan. Nothing to do much here. I'll go with the same thing. Next. Here I can give a name and I'm calling this as ACS, Ansible Control Server. All right. Okay. And now the next thing that comes into play, which is very much important, is by default Ansible will close all the ports for AWS will close all the ports for communication. Right? It will close all the ports for communication. Let us assume that you want to open a website using HTTP, and HTTP uses a port called as 80. So there should be some rule over here which says that 80 is open. Which says 80 is open. Similarly, if you want to open some other port, let us assume HTTPS. So for that you require 443 port. So any ports which you want to open from here, basically it should be there in the rules. So what I do is I call this as Ansible, and for now I'm opening only one port, which is 22. 22 is a port which is required for the SSH to work. Later on, let us add other ports. For now, 22 is enough. Next, review and launch. And now I want to create a new key pair, which is create a new key pair, and I'm calling that key pair as Ansible. Download this key pair. Okay. And then launch instance. Fine. So this resolution might be horrible, but on your screens it might look good. For me, the resolution is 800 by 600 now. So that's why it is looking like this. Okay. Let me see if I can change. ఏమన్నా ఇన్స్టాల్ చేశారా మరి వాళ్ళు ఎందుకు పగబట్టేసింది ఇది this looks better, right? Yeah. Okay, so the machine is running fine. Okay, now I want to log in inside the machine, and for logging into the Linux machine from our Windows system, we require SSH client, and I think we have discussed about Chocolatey and how to install SSH client. All of you have Git on your systems, Git for Windows on your systems, and I'll be using that. Let me click on connect. copy this command and I want to spend some time on this command. Okay. So the basic SSH syntax is SSH, okay, username at the rate machine host name or IP address. Simple. So let us assume that my username is Ubuntu, okay, and the host name is my machine. So this is how the command will look like. So whenever you enter this, it will ask for password. It will ask for password. But Amazon by default doesn't allow you password based logins. It will have a file, it will have a key based authentication. So that's why, apart from this, you would use something called as -i, which is identity file, which is your key file, and then you would be telling path to key file. Simple. SSH-i and path to your key file, username at the rate machine's name. Now look at the first statement. Oh man, sorry for that. Okay, now SSH -i, and what is the file that has been there over there? Ansible.pem. If you remember, that was a file that was downloaded from us just now. And then username of the machine is Ubuntu at the rate whatever the machine's host name is. If you want, you can use the IP address also there. Whether it is username, whether it is host name or IP address is your choice. Is that command making readable now? Is it looking readable? Yes. And the file over there, the ansible.pem file, okay, that is created with something called as, okay, public or private key cryptography. So this is the basic stuff of that file. So what happens is, we all know about encryptions, right? Encryption andariki telusa? Yeah. So how do you encrypt it? Basically, let us assume that I want to send a message, okay, on an unreliable channel. Anyone can read that message, and I want to send my username and password over that channel. What will I do? Let us assume that I want to send a message to only one person in this room, and I want to speak the normal language, right? So I'll be speaking a normal language. For others, it will not be. Basically, everyone will be listening to it, but I want to communicate something special to some person in this room. So how do I do that? I'll use code words, right? Okay. So general phenomenon of that is, whenever you are using that code word, okay, you will have the, let us assume that I'll add +1. Let us assume that I want to communicate something like cat. So rather than saying cat, I'll be saying, so what is my encryption algorithm over here? +1. I've increased the characters +1. And while he is decrementing, the key is, the answer is 1 itself. Now he will reduce the 1. So he will get the answer, right? But in cryptography, this was a, have you heard about someone called as Julius Caesar? Very old person in Roman. So, right, he used to use this kind of encryption algorithms. Now these don't work out, right? Everyone will easily be able to crack this one out. So now we have stronger algorithms, right? So what we do is, there are two kinds of algorithms whenever you want to basically do this. One is called as symmetric, the other one is asymmetric algorithms. Whenever you want to encrypt something, symmetric is key is same, sender and receiver will have the same key. So to the encryption also he uses the same key, and for decryption also he uses the same key. Okay, that is considered to be less secure. And then we have something called as asymmetric key. For sending we'll use one key, and for receiving we'll use another key. This is asymmetric algorithm. So exactly over here, you will create something like public and private keys. Simple. So whenever you are sending a message, you encrypt with public key. The only person on the earth who will be able to decrypt it is who has private key. No one else will not be able to decrypt it. So imagine as if your home has a lock. Your home has a lock where you can insert two keys. But the property is something like this. When you lock with key called as A, you would be able to only unlock with B. When you lock with B, you will be able to unlock with A. Right? For example, I cannot use the public key to lock and public key to unlock. If I use public key to lock, I have to use private key to unlock. So basically, out of this, what happens is private key is with the person. For example, if I am encrypting, I will have the private key. Receiver will have public. That's one way of looking at it. So in Amazon, just now we have said that I wanted to download a key pair. So what has happened was you got the private key and Amazon has a public key. Okay. So what I do is, let me also do this. Let me go to the ansible.pem file which we have downloaded, right? And let me edit it with Notepad. This is a private key which is created by RSA algorithm. That's what it is, right? It might look magical, but it is nothing but a public key and a private key. The public key of this is with Amazon. Let us see whether Amazon has this or not. Now you come over here, scroll down, you will be seeing something called as key pairs, and this is what it is. You cannot change it. You cannot change anything. Okay, so that's why these keys are created only once while you are creating. Once you have lost this, there is no way on earth to generate the same private key again. Are we good? I am explaining this because we have to create similar keys while we are configuring Ansible. While we are configuring Ansible, we'll be using same keys again. Is it clear? Yeah. So basically, this is considered to be a secured mechanism because you have a key and the only person who has a key will be able to log in into this machine. Now, shall we log in into the machine? Yes. So I think I've copied the commands in the notepad. So let me use them. Okay. I'll go to the folder where I have PEM file. And so now let us assume I am not in this folder. Can I still log in? Yes. But you have to give the path to the ansible.pem file. If you have done in the same file, there is no need for you to change the command. That's why I'll ask you to go to the folder where you have PEM file and run this command. Ante. Otherwise, let us assume it is in D drive or it is in somewhere called as, let us assume it, assuming this to be a Linux machine. Let us assume that this is in home ansible / ansible.pem. So you can give the full paths also over here. So generally, if we copy paste, it is easier to use it as is. So you'll go to the folder where you have PEM file and run this command. Yes. Done. You are inside this machine. Now, since we are in the Ubuntu machine, the first thing which you are supposed to do is to update the packages. All right. So sudo apt-get update. Now, I want to add the user. I want to add the user. So for user creation, I want to become a root user. Root user is a super user. He can do anything. So for becoming a root user, I'm executing a command which is called as sudo -. Simple. Right. And then user add. And what is the user which I want to add? Ansible. But for Ansible, I need to also have some password. Okay. So you can just say passwd. So enter whatever password that makes sense to you. So for me, username and password, I'll try to have at the same stuff. Good. Right. Now, let me see if I can log in as that user. Su Ansible. Switch user to Ansible. Then it is asking for. Okay. So what is happening on this machine? So there is no folder called as home underscore Ansible and all of that. So the commands which I've used are not that great. Okay. So what is the command which I've used to create the user add? Okay. Just flip that command and you will get everything. Flip that command and you will get everything. Add user. Then it will ensure that it will create whatever is required. Both are valid commands, but in one command it is much raw. But if you go with add user command, it will try to create you a home directory. So then you will have a home directory which is called as /home/Ansible. That will become your home path. It will do all of that stuff. So shall we do that? Yeah. So I'll quickly create one more machine. This is also going to be our Ansible control server. I wanted to show what would happen if you change the commands. So I basically write in the documentation the most easiest possible commands, right? Okay. This machine, I don't have any work now. So what will I do? Actions, instance state, terminate. I am deleting this machine. I don't need this machine anymore. Let me create one more machine. Launch instance. Same steps again. I want to select Ubuntu. Okay. Free tier. Nothing to be changed. Yes. And now let me call it as Ansible control server. Security group. We have created the user security group called as Ansible during the last time, right? Go over here, and are you seeing something called as Ansible? Yes. Select it, review and launch. Here you can go ahead and create a new key pair or use the existing one. I have ansible.pem in my system. So why do I need a new key? So I'm going with the existing key, which is Ansible. Yeah. So Linux commands, try it out. At a max, why I wanted to show this approach is this system is not precious. Whenever you don't like, I don't want to continue with this machine, terminate the machine, again start the process from beginning. You're not losing anything. But if you are creating virtual machines in your system, that is painful process, because you have to do a hell lot of stuff before you create the machine, and removing the machine will be emotional decision for you. But here it is not that emotional. It will take another couple of minutes at a max, right? So connect. Do we understand this command now? What is this ssh minus I and all of that stuff? Yeah. Yes. Now sudo hyphen minus I. First thing which I have to do is apt-get update. If I am a root user, there is no need for you to use sudo because you already have permissions. Okay. Don't worry about commands. I'll be listing out all the commands at the end of the stuff. Okay. And now what does I have to do? I have to add the user. What is the command which I have used earlier? User add. So what is the command which is sensible? And the username is, see, it is doing all the stuff. So what it has done? It has created the user called as Ansible, and it has created a group called as Ansible, and then it has created a home directory for us, which is home/Ansible. Otherwise, you have to do all of this stuff manually. You have to go with make dir home/Ansible and point it out as a home directory, all of that stuff. So that's why we have flipped this command. And now set whatever is the password. Okay. So other details if you want to enter. Done. Simple. Yeah. Does this look better or user add looks better? This is a simple way. With one command, you get everything. Right. Now, let me exit and let me become a user called as Ansible. So switch user, and the username is Ansible. So I want to move to my home directory. So cd and this tilde symbol will take you to the home directory. So let me see what is my home directory. PWD, present working directory. Am I in home/Ansible? Yes. So everything is set for me. Now I want to update packages. I want to update packages. So let me do sudo. He is not a root user, so you have to give sudo apt-get. It is asking for you to give Ansible password. So what is it saying? You are not part of sudo group. So you don't have permissions to really become a sudo user. That's the first problem. So whenever you create a user, your user will not have sudo permissions. That is the first thing. And now, one more thing to check. So what is this command? So SSH, I've said that SSH command, if you have username and password, is username at the rate machine's host name, right? So what is it saying? So we have two problems. One is we don't have sudoers group, and the next thing is we are unable to log in with our Ansible user. So shall we solve these two problems? Right? Okay. So first, let us fix the problem of sudoer. Right? So let me become a root user. Okay. And then enter a command called as vi sudo. Simple? Yeah. And now come down. Are you seeing this? What is our user's name? Ansible. And copy whatever you are seeing on the top. All colon all. And here I'll be doing one extra thing. So no passwd colon. Yes, because I don't want to enter the password whenever you do a sudo apt-get update. It should not ask me saying that what is the password for Ansible. It should happen automatically. That's what I'm trying to do. So let us see whether this is right or wrong. Just do Control X, save this file. Okay. Now, shall we test sudo permissions? So I'll exit. I'll switch to user called as Ansible. Okay. Now let me go to my home directory and then do sudo apt-get. Happening? Is it asking for password? No. If you don't write no passwd, it will still work, but it will ask for password. All right. We want this to be our setting. So one problem solved. Good. Now what is one more that is left? We were unable to log in as an Ansible user from outside this AWS machine. So for that, okay, sudo vi etc ssh, and there will be a file called as sshd underscore config. Okay. So this is a file where we need to modify. We need to tell that, okay, allow passwords also. Amazon by default stops this. Amazon by default will not allow password based authentication. We are trying to enable it. Come now. Okay. Password authentication. What is written over here? Password authentication. What is written over there? No. You have to turn that to yes. That's it. Yes. Okay. Now, one way to for this to be applied is you have to restart the service. You have to restart the service. So sudo service, and the service which is responsible for this is sshd and restart. Simple. Okay. Now let me exit from here, and let me try the same command which I have tried earlier. SSH Ansible at the rate. Is it asking for password now? Am I able to log in? So this is a setup which we require on every machine. So what is that we have done? We have created a machine, and in that machine we have created a user called as Ansible, and then for that Ansible user, it didn't have permissions, so we had to add him to the sudo group. For that we have used vi sudo, and then to enable password based login, then we have got into the vi sshd file. Remember, the last step is Amazon specific. The last step I am doing because this is a AWS machine, and in AWS machine password based authentications are disabled. If you try in Azure, if you try in virtual machines, the last step is not required because password based authentication is allowed already. Are we good? Yes. Okay. Now we have one task that is left, which is installing Ansible. For installing Ansible, I'll not take that difficulty. I'll just go to Ansible installation, and I want to go to the Ansible site itself. So then it is asking, where do you want to install this? I want to install on Ubuntu, right? Yes. Then it's asking us to install that stuff. And the basic thing which you have to do is you have to basically execute all of those one after the other. Okay. So let me execute them. Sudo apt-get update. I think we have done that, but let us do it again. Good. And then software properties common. Okay. And add a repository. This is no brainer. You are just copying and pasting instructions. Okay. And then you're updating the packages again. So for that we have a command already over here. Okay. And then the last one is install. So if you list down over here, if you see, there are many Python packages which it is trying to add Ansible. All right. Okay. Was it difficult? All right. These are the same steps which I have written in the documentation, right? One is you need to have a user called as Ansible user. He needs to have permissions. We have done that, right? And then we are installing Ansible. And along with Ansible, Python is also installed. Let us see. Python hyphen installed. Good. So our Ansible control server is done. We are good, right? And we have to check one more command, which is Ansible hyphen. Yeah, are we good? So we have Ansible on this machine and Python also installed on this machine. Good. So this is the setup. That's it, right? The other configuration management systems are not this simple, right? Yeah, for you to install it will take a lot of time because you will have a hefty server. You'll have a server to be installed, which is basically a beast. But here it is a very lightweight version of it. Okay. So till here, do we have any doubts before I jump down to the other stuff? It's okay. Even if you forget to check the free tier box, and if you are selecting T2 micro, it is still free. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Good. Now, when Ansible has to work, right? What is the first thing it will know? It should know. It should know to which machines do I need to speak with, right? That we have technically called it as inventory. What is that we have technically called it as? Inventory. Do you remember in Ansible? Okay. If I'm not wrong, ఎప్పుడో పోయిన శుక్రవారం జరిగింది కదా, ఇప్పటివరకు గుర్తుంటుందో లేదో అని రాస్తున్నాను మళ్ళీ ఇది, రైట్? We would have multiple servers over here, right? And this we would call it as Ansible control server, and these are our nodes. And for the Ansible to speak with them, because Ansible will speak with them, this is a push model, right? So it should know where are your nodes, and all of these nodes are maintained in a file which is called as inventory. Which is called as inventory, right? So whenever you add any server, you need to make changes to your inventory, right? When you install Ansible, you will get one default inventory. When you install Ansible, you will get one default inventory. Shall we look at that? Yes. Okay. cd /etc/Ansible. So this is a folder where Ansible is basically present. Now let me do ls. Are you seeing a file called as a host over here? Yeah. So let me see what is in here. Okay. So literally everything is hash with start. So everything is commented out, but you get one inventory file over here. Okay. Are we good? So tomorrow, if you want to add any server to that, what you will do is you will make changes to that. Sudo. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me copy this host file into something and let us make it simple. So cp host, and let me call this as host.org, so that this is the original file which we got. Okay, I have to use sudo. Yeah, and now let me get into host file and remove all of the changes. This looks confusing, right? Let us have an empty file. Okay, and in this I'll add only one entry, which I will call it as what does this mean? This Ansible has one node, and what is that node's name? Which means same machine. So the Ansible, this Ansible which we have installed, basically I'm adding only one entry, which is the same machine. Yeah. Okay. Similarly, you can add other IP addresses also, anything in this list. But let us start with this. Sudo cheyaleda. Okay. Okay. So sudo vi host, and let me add only one entry in this, which is local. Simple. Now we have an inventory file. It has one entry. Let us not worry about what this is. As of now, it has one. Tomorrow, it might have thousands of entries there. We have Ansible installed. We have some of inventory file, and then what is next? And then what comes next? Right? What comes next is you and me trying to push some configuration, right? And the configurations in the Ansible can be pushed via two ways. One is from command line. The other one is from YAML. Command line is generally used for while learning, if you want to quickly understand what it is. So whenever you are doing this from command line, we call this as ad hoc. So this is the first way. Ansible can be operated in two ways. What is it? One is you write the YAML file. That is the best way. And the other one is when you are learning, when you want to check the simplest things, you would be using from command line. Okay. So here in the YAML, it is playbook world. The top one, which is on the top, is ad hoc commands. And for these two different things, we will have two different commands. Right? Playbook kaite ok command undi, ad hoc kaite inko command undi. Right? So for playbook, we have a command which is called as Ansible hyphen playbook. For ad hoc commands, the command line which you would be using is Ansible. Simple. So these are two different ways, right? This is reality. The second step is reality. But to go to the second steps, we might be first learning even that also, because Ansible can be done. For example, now once in a year, you will restart all of your servers. You will restart all of your servers. For that, why do I need to write a command? Why do I need to write a YAML file or a playbook? I can run a simple command. There is one activity which I do every day. So for that, building a command line is difficult. So for that, I'll be writing a YAML file and running that YAML file. So that's the approach. If you are repeating your tasks, we go with playbook. And if you are running something which you generally don't do, and you run it very limited period of time, if you do it only for some period of time, or it is generally that has come just now, then you would go with ad hoc commands. Right? Ad hoc commands can't generally are not used in automation. They are used to do something. For example, restart all the machines because ransomware has impacted some of our servers. So this is something which does not happen daily, right? So for that, I'll go with ad hoc command, right? Update packages on all of my systems. This is something which I do regularly. So I'll write a playbook for that, right? Are we good? So our deployment will be a playbook, but while writing a playbooks, we'll be going with ad hoc commands. Good. So these are two ways, okay? And then we have one more important thing in Ansible, which we call as so Ansible can be operated in two ways. One is using playbook, the other one is using ad hoc commands. And now these modules will tell what has to be done. These modules will define basically your configuration. So for example, okay, I want to update all the packages on a Ubuntu machine. I can do it from Ansible. But for that, I need to know what module has to be used. For that, I need to know what module has to be used. There are many modules which Ansible has already defined for you. We are very huge list of modules. So our learning should start basically from here. Okay, and a module can be used in ad hoc command as well as playbook. A module can be used in ad hoc command as well as playbook. Now, let me use a very simple module, which is Ansible -m ping. This module's name is ping. The ping is failing. Okay, let us not worry about the result, but the ping is failing. Okay, and then I have used a command which is called as -m. -m is module. So before we use Ansible, we need to know the whole list of modules which we have and what are the most commonly used modules. So let me go over here and just do a simple query, which is Ansible modules. Let me go with all module section. Let me not be very simple about it. So this is a whole list of modules. For me to scroll down, it is taking this much time. Remember, if you have to learn how much time it will take. All right. So generally, we will not learn specific modules. We will learn the common approach. How to basically find a module, how to apply them, and how to use them. All right. Make sense? Yeah. Okay. So, for example, let us assume that I was just doing something called as ping. This is the module which I was trying to use. Okay, and this module will have its own examples, how to use it, what are the different values which you can use, all of that explanation. Right? So we will be following this Ansible's documentation quite religiously. We'll be following this Ansible's documentation quite religiously. Then we'll be able to basically use the stuff. Okay, but what is the current state? Ping is failing for the local machine. Okay, right. So what could be the reason for that? Can I do this now? Let me do it this normally. Ping. This is a basic command, right? Working. Okay. So ping is working, but the command which I've used from here is not working. Okay. So Ansible for logging, for checking any command, what it will do? It has to log in into. It has to log in into the machine, and then while it is logging in into the machine, it will basically use the username and password, and we said that we have to set up the key. Did we set up the key? So obviously the command is not supposed to work. If it works, then that there is something problem. We have not set up the communication or the username and password based stuff. Okay, so that is one important thing that is left. Okay, so setting up username or setting up authentication. Okay, for setting up authentication, what is the first thing which I have to, which I said I'll be using? I'll be creating a key. I'll be creating a key, and for that I'll be using, for creating the key, I'll be using a command which is called as SSH. SSH keygen will create me a key and it will copy into some directory where I am interested. That's the first thing. And then I have to copy this key onto the other machine. Which key will I copy? I'll copy the public key. So I'll be using something called as SSH copy ID. Two commands which are still required, which is SSH keygen and SSH copy ID. So let me do this. SSH keygen. There is no need for you to enter any other parameter after this. So it is telling that I will be creating the file in home ansible.ssh and the name of the file will be id_rsa. Are you okay with this or do you want to change the file name? I don't want to change it. I'm okay with it. Do you want to enter any passphrase? This is one level extra security. I don't want it. Enter the same passphrase again. I have not entered anything, so it's fine. Now let us see what is in this file. So ls home ansible.ssh. There will be two files that will be created. No nodes will already be there. So one is id_rsa. The another one is id_rsa dot. id_rsa is your private key and id_rsa dot pub is your public key. And exactly when you are creating the PEM file, the same thing is happening at Amazon side. All right, good. Now I have to copy this file. So SSH hyphen copy hyphen id, and then you have to tell username at the rate machine's name. So Ansible at the rate machine's name. What is the machine's name? As of now, we have only one machine, which is localhost. Tomorrow, the steps don't change if you are trying for a different machine also. You'll be doing Ansible at the rate your node's name. So, what is Ansible's password? You enter this. Okay. Now, the best way to test this command is after this, once you have done this copy paste, if you do SSH, there is no need for you to give the username. Just tell the host name. So, what is the host name? If you do this, you should be able to log in inside that machine. Are you logged in? Yes. Okay. Now let me try this. Working? Yes. That's it. Now I have tried only one my machine. I have to try the other machine actually. Right? So let me quickly create one more machine and add that as a node. Right? I'll not be able to finish till this level, but at least I'll be able to create the user which is called as Ansible. Right? And for that user, let us add it to the admin group or sudo group. Right? And we have to basically enable what is that password based authentication. So we will recollect those steps. I'm exiting out of this machine anyway. So shall I create a node now? Yes. So I'm launching this instance. Ubuntu. Oh. So let me go over here and create this and call this as node 1 so that we'll remember this stuff. Next, security group, I'll be selecting the Ansible which I have created. Later on, I'll change that. Okay. I'm okay with this key value pair. Let us wait for this machine to be in running state. So what are the steps after we log in into this machine? Create a user called as Ansible, add him to the sudo group, and ensure that this machine allows password based authentication. So 3 steps. Okay, and then we have to do copy ID. That we will do it in the next class. Right? Okay, so I'm logging in into this machine. Okay, become a root user. Okay, so add user or user add. Good. Add user Ansible. Okay, good. The information is correct. I'm done. Right? I'm not going to check because I know that it will not have a sudo permission. So vi sudo, and then scroll down. Here username is Ansible, and rest of the things copy just from the top, and then all. Yes, save the file. Right, and then last thing is change the sshd config. So vi etc ssh hyphen sshd underscore config, and in this I have to change one no to yes. Password authentication is put as no, and let me put this as yes, and then save the file. Okay, now you have to restart the ssh service. So service sshd done. Okay, fine, we are good. Now let me just check. So I'll be exit. Okay, su Ansible. Okay, sudo apt-get update happening. Okay, so my node is ready, and in my node there is only one step for me to make it Ansible client. Okay, Ansible node. For Ansible node, what has to be installed? What is the only requirement in Ansible? Python has to be installed. So in tomorrow's class, I'll start with installing Python on this machine and setting up the communication between our control server and node. And let us start with smaller modules like ping. Okay, doing some installations on this machine, writing smaller YAML files and all of that. Now the only thing which is left for you now is add more nodes. So I just have one. Okay, we'll make it 2, 3, 4. So how do you increment this? Okay, all of that stuff. That's at a later point of time. Now, are we clear? Is this whatever we have done in the today's class? Is it sensible? Right? We had created a Linux machine. We have created a user, given that user the sudo permission, and then since I have used AWS machines, and AWS machines will not have password based authentication to be allowed, I have enabled it. Okay, and then the rest was installing Ansible. That's it. So I've installed Ansible on my control server. Tomorrow I'll start by installing Python on my node, and then basically making these two things work. Right? I was able to work localhost from the Ansible control server, but localhost doesn't help. I have to go to the other machines. So for you to add other machines, SSH keygen. Once you have done keygen, that is enough. So there is no need for you to do keygen again and again. And then for every node, you have what is that you have to do? You have to do copy ID. So now what is that I have to do is I have to go to my node, my Ansible control server, SSH copy ID Ansible @ node's IP address. Done. So then it will copy my ID. From there, my control server will be able to log in into the node and do whatever it is. That's the whole idea. Are we good? Looking simple? First మాట్లాడినప్పుడు కాంప్లికేటెడ్ కనిపిస్తుంది. ఇదే పని మళ్ళీ మళ్ళీ చేస్తుంటే it is not that difficult. Right? Because we are creating the user, making him sudo permission. That's a major thing. Since we are on AWS setup, I have to enable password based authentication. So till this point, do we have any doubts? Okay, And remember one thing, in the AWS, if you are using AWS, whenever you restart the machine, your public IP address always changes. Always changes. To resolve that, what we will do is we will be using private IP addresses. We will not use public, because private IP address doesn't change in AWS. Public IP address changes. Okay. So whenever you create a Linux machine, you will get two IP addresses in AWS. So let us look at that. Okay. You will have public IP and then you would have private. So this private will never change. The public, whenever you restart the machine, it will change. All right. So daily we can't keep these machines running, because they will because we have 750 hours of free time, which is only one machine for the complete month. Once you have finished your work, what I would expect you to do is, okay, go over here, select the machines, all right, and then go into the actions and instant state, stop these machines. Whenever you are starting practice again, then start. Okay, you will get a new public IP address, that's okay, but private IP address doesn't change. All right. So this is how I want you to practice. Let us use it sensibly. Let us not get bills in Amazon. Once you have finished your practice, just do stop. Are we clear? Yes. You will be charged only when your machines are running. So that's the reason why I'm asking you to stop. Tomorrow when I'm starting my class again, I'll start these machines, install Python on this machine, on the node, and then enable communication. And then let us look at the modules, and then let us see how the other rest of the stuff goes. Okay, good. Now let us look at questions. If I have 100 nodes, how will I create the Ansible user in all? Okay, so basically, you will not create Ansible user in all. I said that in yesterday's class itself. If you are having the current infrastructure, in your infrastructure there is already an admin user, that will become your Ansible user. If that is not the case and you are trying it on a new infrastructure, you will try to create a Linux image. You will try to create a Linux image where Ansible user is already present. So you are not creating that user again and again. You are not creating that user again and again. You will create a reusable image. That's the whole point. In enterprise world, we don't do this. But in the classroom, I cannot show you that, because if you don't know these steps, you will not know what is happening there. All right? That's the whole point. Does Ansible required to be installed only on server? Yes, that's the whole point. Ansible needs to be present only on the control server, and all the rest of the machines, the only thing which you require is Python. Yeah. Okay. How important is it to create a Ansible server? It is not important, but it is a kind of a maintainability concern. Yeah, it is a kind of a maintainability concern. Generally, for administrative works, you will have one username. If you don't like the name called as Ansible, create it as an administrator. I'm okay with that. But for these kind of configuration management activities, you would require one username, no matter whatever you call it. This is a practice which is followed in the enterprise. So that's why we are starting with that itself. All right. Okay. If you don't do that, whoever is a current user, that is Ubuntu, can act as an admin user. All right. So to avoid that confusion, we are creating explicitly a user and installing Ansible with him. Can you correct me if I'm wrong? SSH keygen on the client and copy ID on the server? No, both on the server. Because we are allowing SSH keygen is required, okay, to copy a public key onto your node. To copy a public key, you should create a public key on the server. So SSH keygen is a command which will be creating once. You will be getting ID underscore RSA and ID underscore RSA.pub. SSH copy ID, what it does is it will copy that ID underscore RSA.pub to your node. So don't worry about that. That part I'll reiterate tomorrow in the class. The key copy and how does that folder look like after that. Okay. Any other questions in the room? Are we going to install Red Hat Ansible? No, I don't have subscription. I can do it on CentOS, but not on Red Hat. Red Hat has subscription requirements for it. Now, in Red Hat, if you have to install Ansible, you need to have Red Hat subscription. The other way to install Red Hat is go to the GitHub, take the Ansible code, build the code, and run it from there, which is completely nonsense. So that's why I'm not going to install it. I will be using it in CentOS, not on Red Hat. All right? Yeah. When we work with Ansible, we should know Python? No. Ansible should know where is Python. That's it. You need not know Python. Ansible should know where is Python installed on your machine. That's it. We don't need to know Python. If you want to develop something in Ansible, then you need to know Python. We are not developing Ansible, we are using Ansible. So for us, we don't require Python. Yeah. Okay. Yes. SSH keygen exchange, do we require it on all the machines? That is one better approach. Okay. Or else what you can do is every time you run the Ansible command, enter the password also. Every time you run the Ansible command, enter the password along with that. That is one way of doing with it. Username and password approach. That is good for 2 or 3 machines, but when you have thousands of machines, it doesn't scale. So for that, we will be using this SSH keygen approach. All right. No more doubts? Okay. So I'll be starting my AWS class at 8:30 or 8:35 or something like that, and I'll be stopping it at 9:15 to 9:20. Monday and Thursday, I'll have some less times because I have to give training at my office, and I have to arrange some of the materials and all of that. I have to go rush to the office, print it out, and basically do that stuff. This Monday and Thursday, and in the August, if I'm not wrong, in the August first week also you'll have that. Probably during August 6th and August 9th. So same sessions being repeated twice for approximately 300 people. So 150 today and 150 on the other week. So Monday and Thursday for these 2 weeks, I think I'll be leaving early. Okay. So please bear with me on that. And this time on Wednesday, I'll try to buy time. On Wednesday, let us have the normal classes, and I'll say that on Wednesday, I'll not be attending the meeting. Since we are losing on 2 days, I don't want to lose it on 3 days. Wednesdays, our class will be on normal time this week, 7 to 8:30 and 8:30 to 10 with respect to cloud. Yeah. Okay. These 2 days, bear with me. Okay. I'll be condensing our class time to some portions because I have to rush to office. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for